Oh.
Welcome to If These Walls Could Talk. I am Wendy Stuart and
I am Tym Moss. I am still recovering from Wendy Stewart's fabulous birthday party this last Sunday.
oh my God.
Oh my God.
It was really absolutely fabulous. Tym, first of all, thank you. Tym sang Everyone Knows It's Wendy.
Yeah. Oh, that was so fun.
It was adorable. And I had 125 people here. I produced 2 shows. I had 18 performers. And here's the thing. I did get choked up and I was and still am overwhelmed. Each person that sang picked a song for me. I mean, I've never in my life, and they said stuff about, what I had done to help them or whatever that I wasn't even aware of. So it was amazing. PANGEA was just on fire that night.
Oh, it was incredible.
It was really important to me. There were people that came that I didn't know all that well, that were friends of friends, who wrote to me and said, oh my God, I felt like I was part of your tribe. And if you know me and Tym, that is really what it's all about.
Absolutely.
All encompassing, positive energy, become part of our tribe, be here.
And one of those people was our guest last week, Darius
Anthony Harper blew the roof off of PANGEA.
Oh my God. It was so moving, so incredible.
I know.
And he told me, he said, well, and I saw one of his posts too. He was like, he's found his tribe. He felt so welcome and so supported and so loved with our group of people.
Well,
and I just said, kid, you're part of the family now. So,
well, yeah. And 125 is a very big group. But let me tell you something. I use this pandemic. A lot of the people that I have become so close with, I literally did not know 3.5 years ago.
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
And what happened for me during the pandemic, my social world exploded. It started online and then it started meeting outside, and it started certainly in the world of entertainment and music. It's like, hey, we are artists. We've got to get out there and do our thing. Nobody is paying us to be sitting at home behind our desk. Okay.
Right. But for those of you that don't know, Wendy is at PANGEA right now. That's where the party was last Sunday, and that's where she if I can, I get down there also. But that is our main headquarters for this show that we've been doing now for about 2 years.
It's January was 2 years, and I highly encourage everybody to go online, pangea.org. They have the shows here are incredible, and the talent.
.org, is it?
Is it Pangea
or Pangea and PangeaNYC.com, I think.
Thank you so much, Tym. Did you just Google that?
And Wendy came up with the idea during the pandemic because they were really struggling, and they have always been supporters of the arts,
right?
To do our show from there and give them some support, and it certainly worked. So.
It certainly worked. So I hope everyone is having a great day. Oh, Tym, our station identification.
Well, no, not yet. But first, I want to get back to your party because it was just the best word I can use to describe it was joyous.
It was.
Because everybody had so much fun. I saw people I hadn't seen since before the pandemic.
Everybody said that, right?
We had. Let me see. Felipe Rose, who was he was the original Native American from with the Village People. He was there and he sang a couple songs. Lottie Da was there. She was with Leather and Lace and had her own solo career.
Ike Belli, comedian.
Ike Belli was there. Albert Crocus Pena.
Unbelievable. Yeah, great person.
Preston. I can't think of his first name.
Oh, Joe Preston.
Oh, all I could think was Ron. Joe Preston. I mean, just the list goes on and on.
Mario, I know the list just went on and on, and it made me feel really special to give this party for everyone and watch the magic unfold. It was a huge undertaking for me because I spoke with, I love Nick Lyon to death. He's like, you're out of your mind. We should have no more than 3 performers and 1 stage. I'm like, no. I said, I want 2 big shows. I want 2 stages.
Yeah.
And I said, look at all these talented people that we know. Let's get their stuff out there. We have a beautiful write-up in the Village Sun.
Yes, that was lovely.
John Pitero, thank you so much. Laurie Towers, the other half of John Pitero. Thank you both so much. I love them. And thank you both for not only coming, but the write-up in the Village Sun is great. We're so happy. Thank you.
Yeah, and then afterward, there were how many cakes? Because you got a cake for all of the Capricorns.
It was, so yeah, we were celebrating other Capricorns. I'm a person, and if you know me, you know I share. And we had 4 cakes from Venero's. If you live in New York, that is the only place to get your cakes. Not only are they out of this world, they are so damn reasonably priced. It's incredible. After all this time, right, when everyone else is price gouging, their cakes are still incredibly reasonably priced and yummy. We had 4 cakes. Felipe Rose took home the wrong cake. He told me that he did. He took home Evan Lawrence's cake. But Evan Lawrence, I love him to death, but he had to leave early. He had a big trip to make.
Cake.
So Felipe took his cake. Oh well, what can you do? He took the cake that night. Isn't that an expression?
But it was just such a reunion, and you just brought so many wonderful people together, and everybody that was there was appreciative of that.
Well,
and appreciative of you, and it was a celebration of you, of Wendy. So
thank you. I was telling Tim I had an audition the next day. Unfortunately, it wasn't for a zombie film, because that's exactly how I felt. And it was a callback, and I knew my lines like 2 days prior. And I walked in there at the lines. It's like I felt like I was looking at it for the first time. I'm like, what day is this? Big shout out to all the beautiful gifts that people gave me. I've been opening them like 3 at a time. So if you haven't gotten a thank you, it's only because I didn't get to the gift yet. But thank you. I know the most wonderful, generous people in the world.
Now, normally we do this after the broadcast, but real quick, Elizabeth Marcano is on. Hello. Hi, sweetie.
Hello, Elizabeth.
And Joe Preston says, oh, hello. Hello, Joe.
Hello.
I finally remembered your name. But Hannah Q Dance Company said, because we were talking about the birthday cakes, and she goes, and Wendy didn't drop it.
Okay, Hannah just outed me. Hannah knows I've been at parties, and people are always like, do you want to bring the cake out? Because I'll do I'll do my thing, right? Well, it's poltergeist, ladies and gentlemen. I don't drop the cake. The 3 times that those cakes happened, no, we were in places that were haunted. Tim, this is true. You have to believe the cake slid, and I had nothing to do with it. Hannah Q, I didn't serve the cake that night. I had other people do it.
But she does have like a fear of holding a cake anymore. I've seen it before.
Right.
But anyway, thank you everyone for tuning into If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss. And we will be right back with our incredible and beautiful guest.
Our incredible and beautiful guest. We were talking about tribes earlier. My God, she is one of my tribe, and I've known her for forever. And from the moment we met, we knew we were kindred blonde spirits navigating our way through the world of modeling at a modeling underwear gig. I kid you not. We first met each other in bra and panties. What can I say? When you've seen someone in their underwear, right? It's like that dream that you have. When you've seen someone in your underwear, you just know from the get-go that you all are going to be friends. Okay. She is amazing. I described her on her intro as being from the hills of Wyoming. You can tell I don't know Wyoming. It is the Rocky Mountains of Wyoming.
Yes.
Right. From Wyoming to New York to Saudi Arabia. Yes, Saudi Arabia. With a soft landing in LA, where she has just been thriving. She is a gorgeous person, both inside and out. Please welcome actress, producer, casting director, an amazing, amazing person, Toni Redman. Yay! There you are.
Thank you. Yeah, we are kindred spirits. I mean, no competition in our bra and panties. We just love each other from day one. So.
Yeah, right, Tim. You know all about like being in your underwear, right?
When I meet someone in their underwear, it's good. It's on.
It just tears down all that stuff. So,
well,
you know,
now don't skim over that. Tell us, how did you two meet?
We were both working for Warner Bra Company, and
Oh, okay.
seriously, in the dressing room, one of the directors came in and reached into my bra, moved my nipple, and kept talking. And Wendy was, you know, and I was in shock because, you know, would you like me to just reach in and grab your junk and adjust you in?
Right. Reach in and grab her. Was that, Toni? That was one of your first modeling jobs, right?
That was one of my first bra and underwear jobs. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Right.
So you just have to walk in and act like, yeah, people touch my nipples everywhere I go. No problem. Yeah.
It is, you know,
oh
it's
my
funny because there was nothing pornographic about it. There was
No.
nothing. The designer, who I would believe her name was Gloria Fire, she was a really great designer for Warner Co. She designed all this stuff, and they would hire like 6 of us for what they called Market Week. They would have buyers come in from the stores, right? Like JCPenney or Lord and Taylor.
And they want to see them on a model. They want to see them.
And they would, right, and they would book them like every hour. We really worked. We would each have our lineup of, you know, the bras and panties that we wore. So every hour we were out there, you know, you'd come out and stand up straight.
Now, question, were you in high heels?
Of course.
Pantyhose, because, you know.
Right. Toni, no, this is key that Toni remembered to bring that up. First of all, in the modeling industry, because I still do this, you don't wear pantyhose anymore. I don't know, somewhere it went out the window. I hate it. I really hate it because you feel naked. But you would wear the pantyhose and the underwear went over it. It gave you a little more coverage. But Toni, you might remember this story, and it's in my book, She's the Last Model Standing. We were rushing. They would book these appointments one on top of another. And I got the bra on, and I went running out of the dressing room. I got out there, and I stood out in front of the customer just as proud as could be, and I had forgotten to put the panties on.
Yep. And nobody says a word. They just you go on with it. Go on with the show.
It's supposed to be that way.
Yeah. But you're right. Underwear, it is like, it's just one of those odd things. But
we are mannequins. We're not humans, right? We just
right. We were like,
for the clothes. Yeah.
And let's face it, Toni, as women, right? If your underwear doesn't fit, you're not happy. Who wants a wedgie?
Well, woman can't do what her underwear won't let her, right?
Right. And, you know, our lives.
So this was in 1989. That's when you met?
Yeah, late
88 or 89. I was trying to remember. Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, lady. I had already been modeling 10 years already in New York, and you were like the new girl in town.
In New York, yeah. I'd been modeling in Denver. I grew up in Wyoming, so Denver was the nearest, you know, high fashion. It was great. Going to New York was my dream. I couldn't wait to get there. And then, you know, I didn't know anybody. So meeting Wendy on one of my very first jobs was like, oh, thank you, God. Thank you, God.
Knowing everybody.
Yeah. You know, and when you said earlier, Wendy, you were surprised when people reminded you helped people. Oh my gosh, you are the epitome of there's enough to go around, and let me just hook you up, because it all comes back. It's all karmic. You know, the industry is let's help each other, let's lift each other, because there's more than enough in the universe.
Well, Tim totally believes that too. You know, our whole group of actors that we work with, and there's an extensive group, but we all know that. And yeah, there is more than enough in the universe. I am still to this day, Toni, because I know you come from I call it the hills of Wyoming, but you grew up in a very rural area. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, actually, I mean, you know, the state of Wyoming is the least populous state in the country.
Oh, wow.
But I grew up in the biggest city in Wyoming, which is all of 50-something thousand people. So I'm a city girl compared to a lot of people in Wyoming. And I'm still I'm proud of this now, but when I first came to New York, nobody knew where Wyoming was. And trying to be from a smaller place and have people say, where?
I'm from Indiana originally. I got the same thing here.
You know? and so I was embarrassed to be from Wyoming for a while. And finally I started realizing, am I glad I grew up with the integrity and the kindness and the friendliness and the warmth. People do say hello to you when they don't know you, and it's not because they want something. And that's taken me a long way. It took me a long way in New York. I had a friend who said to me, God, you're such a crackhead. Nobody says hello to anyone. Well, then she came out to visit and she was like, oh my God, everyone from here is a crackhead.
Right.
Because people are kind. It doesn't take anything to just say hello. It doesn't mean you're giving your life away.
Right.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah,
I
and
think,
you grew up with community, like where people
yes.
knew each other, and same here. Yeah,
And
I'm
I
grateful for
love
that.
And I think that's what we created in New York, honestly,
Yeah.
with our group of friends and, you know, our gay contingency, we called it, because, you know, being advocates and being friends, who everybody, you can love everyone, and love is love. So why not create a community? And that's what we've done career-wise and friend-wise and family. Here we are. Look at
And
us.
when I had Toni here, I didn't have to go to gay bars myself. I had somebody else that I could go with.
Oh my gosh, the nights we would get in at 3 or 4 in the morning and have to be back at 8. You know,
Right, we have to be back to work. Like we would go on like 3 and 4 hours sleep. It's amazing what a cold shower and cover up will do.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, seriously, we weren't big drinkers. At least you
No,
weren't.
that's another thing.
You
can't
weren't.
be-
But the dancing thing, gosh, I just miss that. Going to gay bars and seeing beautiful naked gay men dancing. And
Well, that's still all going on here. You know, the next time
I
you
miss
come-
that too.
yeah.
Like naked gay men all over the place.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know, there's still a lot of places, like since we've rebounded. Notice I didn't say since we're past COVID, because we're not. But since we have rebounded as a culture and we're all trying to find our footing, you know, the Go-Go Boys are back. We have the Glam Awards, of course, coming up, Toni, which you would
Right. I
absolutely
remember.
love. There's a category for the best Go-Go Boys. So yeah, the Go-Go Boys are still out there and all of that. I'm curious, Toni, when you first got to the city, I met you. You were like such an innocent, really nice, great person. What was probably one of the most overwhelming things about getting into modeling here as compared to Denver?
You know, I guess because growing up modeling, you know, you look different from other people. I mean, I didn't really fit in at home, and the opportunities in Denver were great, but I didn't fit in Denver either. And when I got to New York, I realized, I'm so glad I don't fit in. You know, that was
nobody fits in here.
right. You can just be who you are. You can be your authentic self, and people, you find your tribe. And it was an awakening. I mean, I was just laughing, thinking, you said this, and we were in I don't remember the name of the bar, dancing, having a great time. And some guy came over and said, your friend is really hot. Is he a she, or is she really?
We got that.
And we, you know, people thought I was a drag queen, and I was like, thank you. I love that. Thank you. You know?
And that's why you fit. So there.
No, I mean, I guess I don't look like, okay, I'm me.
Right. You're right. You're just you.
I
It's funny, Tim, because you're also from, you know, you guys know I grew up in the Bronx. I didn't grow up in the city, but I grew up, of course, with the New York vibe. So it was easy for me to fall into stuff here and fit here. You know, I did a stint in between. My parents moved to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I did community college for 6 months, did not fit, had a job in a mall. I was like, forget it. But for you guys, you had to come from somewhere else. You went to college, Toni. I forgot. Were you in college in Denver? Where did you go to school?
In New York. I went to school in New York, and also in Denver and Fort Collins. Yeah, I did a couple of different colleges in different places. Then I got to New York and went to school, took classes at Yale, did everything I could, classes at Juilliard, finally graduated from Colorado State. Did, I want to say, I don't even know, not quite a year at Colorado State just to finish my degree. Because, you know, I got a job modeling in Japan, and that paid for my apartment, that paid for my car, that paid off my school debts. And then I came back to New York and was like, okay, let's go. Let's, you know, wanting to be an actor the whole time. And you walk in and they say, oh, you're a model.
Yeah.
But you had the whole.
You had to be, because you were one or the other.
Right. Exactly. Well, Tim, you remember that. We talk about that all the time. You were categorized. And if you did soap operas, you couldn't do movies. And if you did commercials, you couldn't do other things. And you guys remember. And that's how it used to be. Toni, you came here though, and you could sing. I remember you're trained. You had that training. So how did you end up getting, we'll say it, pigeonholed into modeling? Is it all just about this, right? When they see people?
Well, gosh, I'm stumbling. I'm teaching now. I'm teaching acting. But I met my mentor because I was pigeonholed as a bombshell or a bimbo or a model or the blonde thing.
The blonde thing.
Back in the day, you couldn't be something different. Right. And I did Baywatch, and I did Silk Stockings, and I did all of those 80s bombshell blonde things. Great. Thank you for the work. I did Adelaide and Guys and Dolls, and I did Hetty LaRue and How to Succeed in Business.
Wow.
And musical. But after a while, I kept thinking, I am a Mensa girl. I have an IQ that is, I'm intelligent. What is wrong that nobody sees me as that? So I was ready. I was working on, gosh, I can't remember what show it was now. And one of the guys I was working with said, I was sick of it. I kept thinking, I'm so sick of being the bombshell. I don't want to do this. I want to do something intelligent, dramatic, whatever. And he said, go take this class. And I said, I'm classed out. I took,
right, yeah.
When you study at Juilliard, when you study it class after class, neighborhood play, Okay. So I finally went and I met Sam Christensen, and he taught, he was the casting director for MASH, and he cast the original Rocky Horror, and he cast The Revenge of the Titans, and the whole class was about being your authentic self.
Nice.
Learning what it is because people think of you as one thing before you open your mouth. But the minute you start talking, they realize, oh, there's more below the level. You have different facets. Oh, it's true. We judge people within the first 3 seconds.
Absolutely.
We see them. And I became a casting director because of that. Because you get this take on people.
Yeah.
I credit Sam with that, for me finally realizing, I back in the day, I got the bombshell bimbo young thing. Now I'm getting the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills thing. It's the, it's the grown up version of that.
Yeah, exactly.
And he made it okay for me to say, okay, this is what you think of me. This is how I appear. It's my public persona. It's not my private persona.
Right.
And if you want to cast me that way, hire me that way, pay me the money. I'll do it.
Right.
And so teaching young actors this, I just feel thrilled because kids learn it's okay to be who I am.
Right.
Oh my gosh, it's okay to be who I am.
Right.
And I love that. And adults take it, and finally they get why people think, we're this, we're not. We're
right. I love that. And I want to take it to the next level. But I first want to say thank you to everyone for tuning into If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our wonderful and amazing guest, Toni Redman. Sorry. But now you were just saying about finding your authenticity. I wish I would have had a class like that when I was
absolutely young. Me too.
And one thing nowadays in entertainment, and the age of Instagram and all of that, it just seems to be perpetuating that idea of stereotypes and trying to look a certain way.
Filters, Tim.
Oh my gosh.
Either impossible to look that way or perfection.
Yeah.
And we're people, we're not perfect. And do you find that still exists in the entertainment industry and in the casting? And can you tell us the difference from the actor's point of view and the casting director's point of view?
Both.
Yes, it does, because we have a certain idea in mind when we bring people in to audition, right? We need this character with these qualities, or this can do these things. So we have an idea. But the truth is, you have to be within a certain parameter. Listen, it's still true. You cannot play a cheerleader if you're 350 pounds and can't cheer, right? I mean, you have to know that there's a certain expectation and a certain time. If you are overweight, God bless you, because now the world is opening and casting is different. Thank goodness it's not so blinded anymore. However, you have to also know, if you are 350 pounds and can sing, you're going to get Tracy Turnblatt and hairspray until you realize I can do other things. And you have to figure out what those things are. Find your other facets, find your other qualities. other than just being a Tracy Turnblad, who is fabulous. I mean, right, that
Right.
character is written so beautifully, but you have to know there's a range. Turn it
Yeah.
up and turn it down, right?
But it's up to
Absolutely.
you to discover. Here's the thing, it's
Right.
up to the person to discover that range, because what is so limited about agents and casting directors, they see a certain thing and they often really, there's very few I've met that can expand beyond that and see beyond what that person has in front of them. There's a physical criteria, and then there's the talent. Now, if the physical criteria kind of fits the role, but the talent is absolutely blow away, that should be your person. But guess
Exactly.
what? That often is not your person. They
How
will
much-
end up going with a safe choice.
And the other factor is, and people forget this, do I want to spend 12 hours of my day with you? Does everyone on the set deserve to spend 12 hours a day with you? Or do you know what I mean? Because there are people you think this person is fabulous. They're a handful, and then they're more than a handful, and you don't want them anywhere near you. And the
Are
cast
you
is
so
And I
batshit
have-
crazy? No one's going to want to be around
and
you.
we've had that, it happens.
And from the acting point of view, I have walked into auditions where I just nailed it. I slayed it. But Mr. Pretty comes walking in behind me, who can't act his way out of a paper bag. And
Right.
he's got like 10,000 or 20,000 followers.
Yep.
That's a thing
It's
now.
a big
How
deal.
many followers do you have? And
Right.
he gets the lead in something. And it's for me, a lot of times the quality of the art suffers because they're going more for numbers and money.
Yeah. I mean,
Tim, you've opened the door here about this whole thing with social media beyond the filters. Is I am getting asked, how many followers do you have on Facebook or Instagram? And please include your handles, to which I want to say, and I'm going to curse, fuck you. This has gotten, and there should be, I don't know if the unions can do anything about that question being asked, but it should just be stopped. It should really just be stopped. It's got nothing to do with anything.
I'd like to hear Toni's perception on that.
Please. Advertising is expensive, and look what we're, and I learned this a long time ago. If you aren't famous already, the chances of you getting something or getting cast in something are very slim to none, which is why you have to create your own thing, which you've done, Wendy. That's it, because people aren't spending the money anymore to pay for you to be advertised. For us to advertise for you, you have to bring people to us. And so that's why all the followers, that's why that whole thing has started. I mean, I get it on one hand. On the other, it's like auditioning on Zoom. The self-tape thing. Yeah. But if you think about it, how many takes did that person do before they finally sent in something? It's not the original best job they did in the room, which maybe was a crap job. It's like 39 takes later with filters and the proper lighting. And so, and then as a casting person or as a director, we have to sit through all those auditions and go, then we still have to bring you in and see how you are in the room. So
it's
good. Because for me, when I go into audition, I much prefer to have the director there, because if the line is, "Oh, look at that," how do you want me to say? How are you feeling it? How do you want me to say it? Do you want me to go, "Oh, look at that," or "Oh, look at that,"
right?
Or, there's different ways of saying it. And in a self-taped audition, you got one shot. Whatever I think. However I think it should be done, not the director. That's where I get like, so frustrated.
It is frustrating.
Question too for really both of you. This thing with having, we get so many things in now. Like Toni, you said there's more things now than ever. But getting someone that can read with you. I often have, God bless my husband Alan, who does the lighting for the show, but. He can read words, but it's dead, and he's not an actor.
You're not an actor.
Or my daughter, who I can tell really would rather be doing 20 other things. How, so Tim, to your point, right? The director can at least give you something and bring something out in you, or if you have a reader, but doing this, what do you guys do? Like, if you don't have another person,
you can read into your phone and then play it back.
I do.
Right. Which is also because then you feed yourself the energy that you want to come off. I mean, It's there. There are a lot of answers that you can hire people. There are services now that do that you can hire a reader.
This is
I mean,
all takes so long. It's money. It's time. It's
that's
And
our
then-
industry. That's
Right. And then to send it in for the casting director to go, nope, I don't like that. Next.
right.
You know,
And-
after hours of
It's
doing that.
And again, think about that. If you don't capture somebody's attention in the first 3 seconds,
Right.
it's like
That
the
is-
dating apps. I've never been on a dating app, but you swipe left or swipe right.
Oh, God.
How do you're not in the room? That energy. We talked about this. I'm going to swear here. I called the fuckability factor.
Right.
Absolutely.
Tim
I mean,
Both
agrees, like,
dating and entertainment.
It's the same in dating. It's the same when you meet somebody and you go, oh my God, I have, right? Oh, and everything inside is like,
Yeah.
that feeling. How do you find that from a Zoom rehearsal
Yeah,
or Zoom?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for tuning in to If These Walls Could Talk with your host, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our wonderful and incredible guest, Toni Redman. Yay!
Oh my
Well,
God.
we were just talking about the fuckability factor.
Factor.
I've been searching for years for a better word for that. I
There
don't
isn't.
know.
Do you teach your students that? Do you teach your kids that? What do you tell them?
Well, since I'm teaching at Laguna Playhouse right now,
Yeah,
which I
but when the
love.
fuck-
I'm teaching kids. I think they're like between the ages of 12 and 18.
Oh, wow.
So I don't use that terminology.
Right.
We can call it the it factor.
I like that, Tim. Right? It's just the it factor, right?
But
There
what
we
is
go.
that exactly? What is that? Because they're too fresh and we don't want them to think it's
Right.
all about sex, which is how we pronounced it in my house growing up. Sex. I remember climbing up the bookshelves one day to try to figure out what is sex, and I was like ESX. Yeah, right. I never understood what that word was, but it is that sexual. It's not even sex. It's just there's something about you that makes everybody want you right now.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
On all
The
levels.
want you factor, I call it.
Yeah,
It is the it factor. It
yeah.
absolutely is the it factor.
And you can't. I don't know. I've been trying to find a different word to put in my bio, and that's why my bio is old because.
Well, you're so funny, Toni. I think for me, one of the most interesting things about you had all this going on, and then you had a friend that relocated to Saudi Arabia.
I was just gonna say that. Yep.
And she tells me she's going there, and I'm like, what are you going to do there? So I'm ready to talk. Tim, she was sending things through the iPhone that I thought she shouldn't be sending because I thought she might end up like stoned to death in the desert.
Oh, my
Yeah. But she sent me one called Date Night in Riyadh.
Okay.
And it was like she was following the back of a pickup truck with camels in it. And a bunch of guys in it, and the sand is blowing in every direction. And I thought, my beautiful girlfriend, what the heck did she do here? Toni, can you tell us a little bit about this existence?
A little bit of that experience and what life was like, because I have no idea.
It was incredible. It's someplace not a lot of people are allowed to go or get to go because you have to know someone to bring you over. And so we went to the U.S. Embassy they had I don't even know what they call it, like public night. I don't even know. I can't remember now, but where citizens could come and have dinner and drinks, and there was often entertainment. And I was able to meet the U.S. ambassador to Saudi Arabia, who said to me, "We understand you're a theater person, you're a director." And I said, "Yeah." And husband and wife team said, "Well, would you do something for us? Would you consider directing something?" And I said,
wow.
"Yeah, sure I would." So there's a play called Boeing, which is, like not boing boing, but it could be boing boing.
Yeah.
A lot of people who I'm familiar with in Saudi Arabia work in the aerospace industry. So, Boeing.
Yeah.
It's the quick synopsis is these two guys. One guy is living in Paris. They were friends in college. The friend comes to visit in Paris and learns that the guy living in Paris has 3 different fiancés. They're all from different countries, and they're all flight attendants for different airlines.
Oh my God!
So it's a farce, and so there's a lot going on. But it was fun. It was fun, and it drew an audience, and it was great. It was so much fun for me, and I was able to meet people who were working at the American International School, the superintendent and the principal of the middle school and the elementary school and the high school, they brought me in to teach drama at the American International School.
Oh, totally cool.
Which, I wasn't. I promised myself I was never going to be a teacher. I didn't go to school to be a teacher. I went to school to be an actor. That whole parent telling me you have to have a backup plan, I was like, F that, Well, there it was. And I loved it. So I had the opportunity to direct a show, and I chose Peter Pan because it's the first show I ever saw.
Wow.
And the kids, we were able to build the rigging so we could fly Peter in from the back of the audience over the stage, down onto the stage. And of course, it was just it had never been done because at that time public entertainment was against the law in Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
So this American International School, I would say 64 different countries. The kids were from 64 different countries. And so they all had to speak English to go to school there. So kids from every background, and a lot of them had never seen live theater.
It's
so
almost
it was just
UN. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an incredible experience. I was exhausted. I was working like 14 to 18-hour days, teaching and being at school at 7 in the morning. I had to have a driver because women then couldn't drive.
Wow.
Now they can. And not that I would want to, because people drive like, it's scary. They make their own, it could be a 2-lane highway and they make it into 6.
Yeah, it becomes a freeway. They just went around.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning into If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss and our wonderful guest Toni Redman. I had a quick question. We were talking about your time in Saudi Arabia and directing theater and bringing
all these cultures, these kids from all different backgrounds.
And because one question I have, you are such a beautiful and stunning and strikingly beautiful woman.
Thank you.
Did you have to wear a burqa while you were there? Because that kind of defeats the purpose of the beauty.
Right?
That's a whole lot, Tim.
They do. Thank you. They call it an abaya. So it's a head covering. In Riyadh, we didn't have to cover our faces, but a lot of women do. It's a choice. I understand now women aren't doing it as much as they used to. Mm-hmm. It's a choice. But I did. But they had the religious police there when I lived there, and if you didn't, they could whack you with a cane or spit on you. And the only time I ever had an issue, it was in public, and it was over really quickly. It wasn't a big deal. But when I was at the school, you get to the school and you could take off the abaya. None of the teachers had to wear them unless they chose to, depending on your religious beliefs. So, in school, the only time you have to wear it is out in public. And I really believe that the men there have laser vision eyes because they can see right through you. You're not covering up anything. They know. So, yeah, and the women there, when they take the Saudi women are just gorgeous. Gorgeous. So, yeah, it was, I didn't mind. It's like in New York, you wear black. In California, you wear flip-flops. It's
there you go. You also told me that there's an underwear story from there, Tim, that was really interesting to me. Toni told me like the mall was segregated, right? The women shop on one floor, the men the other.
Really?
You were telling me about their undergarments there.
Yes.
Like these abayas.
Yeah, you can. The majority of women dress head to toe in couture. There are a lot of the women I knew.
Expensive, yeah.
Beautiful, and
really?
But women then weren't working in the shops. So men were the clerks. And so lingerie stores had a male clerk.
Okay.
And you couldn't try anything on. You could go in and choose your size, purchase it, take it home, try it on, and then have to return it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, talk about hemorrhoids, right? Pain in the ass. It was awful. So how do you know if something fits you? Because sizes all over the world are different. So it was
because they don't want women getting naked or taking their clothes off in public.
Oh my God, no.
Nope. Yeah.
Wow.
It is ironic, and again, it's a cultural thing, so no judgments here.
Right.
But women weren't working in stores at the time, and they would only a male could work there. So it's like an oxymoron. They're selling really sexy. Some of the brands Toni described to me, we're talking top of the line lingerie. And I was thinking, well, what the hell do they need it for? Because they're totally covered. But she was the one that explained to me they're wearing couture head to toe, and that includes the most expensive underwear you could possibly put on your
Well,
body.
so they can wear like a mini skirt, but as long as their face is covered.
The body, I call it my Hogwarts uniform. Basically,
Hogwarts
you know, it's like a robe that or you know, like a baccalaureate gown, right? It's a big robe that covers everything up, and you wear it in public, covering your outfit.
Okay, but yet the women underneath have like fabulous.
And, oh my gosh, dressed to the nines. These women are very stylish. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That was a very big
interesting. That's an interesting cultural
I think it's
understanding or law.
I think it's a choice. You know, they really are very focused on marriage and sharing their beauty with their life partner. So I think, you know, a lot of the men don't always dress, but you know, cover. And they call the men's called a thobe. The men's robe is called a thobe. They wear white and women wear black. And so you see women in it's, you know, it's 120 degrees and the women are covered up in black.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it was really, it was shocking, but it's a choice and it's a respect for their religious and cultural beliefs. So you go with the flow.
Absolutely.
Thank
you again for tuning into If These Walls Could Talk with your host, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our wonderful and special guest.
Oh my God.
Toni Redman.
You have always fascinated me because you will go beyond. I said some children are born of the world, some are born of the town. You went way beyond the world. Now, you also got involved with a project in Ghana.
Yeah. Okay. So while I was teaching in Saudi Arabia, they have a week where students can sign up to go do charity work or go do a week away from school with teachers as their what's the word? I just lost the word.
With their teachers as their leaders, their group leaders.
Yeah, you know, protectors, leaders. What I can't think of the word now.
I mean, these are children that are very, you know, financially, you know, these are the children of dignitaries. These are the children possibly of royalty. These are children that have everything.
Yes.
So this is what's very interesting where they went.
And so I signed up. I didn't care where I went. I was excited to get to go. Who doesn't want to see the world and who doesn't want to help someplace? So let me back it up by just putting this little bit in first because it makes a difference. The weeks before I had signed up months before, didn't know I was going. And all of a sudden I was having a lot of back pain. And I was seeing a chiropractor who, I was going at least once a week to see a chiropractor in Riyadh. My back was bad. My stomach was all bloated and I couldn't figure out what was going on. So that last night before I went to the doctor and they revealed that I had cancer. I had a tumor. We talked about it. Should I go or shouldn't I go? And I wasn't going to let that stop me from going to Ghana because I was chosen to take kids. I think we had, I want to say 16 to 20 kids that we were taking, high school students to Ghana. And several of them were royal family children. And they hadn't, who gets to go to Africa, right? Couldn't wait. So I went, and this incredible woman, Wendy, knows her as well. Her name is Cindy Swenson. She created Project Okarasi in Ghana, West Africa. Her goal was to help build a school and help find clean water sources for these kids because they don't have beautiful, incredible people with water that they bathe in, they use as their laundry, they use as their bathroom, they use as, you know, and all the same source. So there were people getting sick. So Cindy, I met her and it was like when I met Wendy, it was like immediately, you know, here's my soul sister. I've been looking for you. Thank God I found you again. And so we spent a week there helping build a school.
Oh, wow.
It was, these kids, this experience for these students was probably as profound as it was for me. I mean, sure. One of the girls brought her Chanel espadrilles as her hiking shoes or her
her work shoes while she was helping to build in the dirt.
I mean, for me, even for me, that's a little out there, but you know, you don't know. You don't, if these are your most comfortable, how do you know?
But also she didn't have any point of reference.
Right. How do you know before you get there? So it was incredible. It was just incredible. So Cindy is still working there. They this village, they build their own drums. They have a lot of goats, and they're doing drumming all over the world. And I think one of her students is actually going to Carnegie Hall. Carnegie Hall. One of her kids is going to Carnegie Hall to do a drumming session, which is just, the world is opening up, right?
Right. Absolutely. How fascinating.
Amazing.
Very quickly, you are in Laguna, California.
I am.
Didn't Barbara Streisand have a house there?
That was Laguna. No, she's in Malibu. She's in Malibu. Yeah. I think Bette Midler used to have a house here. I don't know if she does anymore.
But now tell us about the theater there, and also how can people get in touch with you and find out more about your acting classes and casting, directing? Okay, so I'm working for Laguna Playhouse, teaching at the youth theater in Laguna Playhouse. Love it. And it's children, anybody can join. And I'm also teaching with Sam Christensen Studios, Hollywood. Sam, my mentor, as I mentioned, passed away 3 years ago. His partner, Ken, is still, I get to work with Ken every day, and he's fabulous. So I'll give you a little, I don't know if you can link it, or it's Toni Redman 411@gmail. That's my link. You can call me, text me, email me, whatever. And it's Toni, Toni. Yeah, because today I'm a girl. Every day I'm a girl. And it's, I'm not a drag queen. I am a real girl.
There'll be a test later.
There we go. Right. I think part of it was I had my little bag stuffed in my tights, and where can you put your purse down when you're in a bar or in a dance club? So I put my little purse in my crotch of my pants. We were just dancing. So I think that was the confusion.
So you can understand the confusion.
That's where the bulge came from.
Oh, the bulge.
Tim would have been on you like a house on fire.
Oh my God, Toni, thank you so much.
Thank you. This is fabulous.
Finishing, but we'll continue in just a minute. But I just want to say thank you so much for being such a wonderful and incredible and informative guest.
And enlightening. Thank you. And thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Yes. Okay, now that broadcast is over. Now we get to talk and chat some more.
The good chat.
The broadcast
but I wanted to try to get everything in there, from
there's so much with you.
Absolutely. Oh my God, so fascinating.
Toni, you had started, and of course I wanted to get Ghana into the first part because that's amazing. Yeah. But I remember this, you were diagnosed with this tumor, and that she saw a top surgeon who took care of the royalty. They wanted to cut her, Tim, from here all the way down to here.
Yeah, collarbone to pubic bone, and they would have taken. Here's how it worked. Because they're male doctors and female nurses. Male doctors can't be in the room with the female patient.
Goodness,
so
right.
God bless this nurse. She was in the room with me, and she was actually doing the ultrasound to try to figure out what was going on. And the doctor had to be in the other room looking at the computer, the screen. And she quietly did one of these things to me, and she pointed to the screen and she said, so you've had cancer before? And I said, yes. And she said, and you still have a good oncologist in the United States? And I said, yes. Yeah. And she said, how soon are you going home?
Oh, wow.
Did this again. And she pointed and she drew a circle with her finger because he couldn't see. And I knew. And the doctor said, Inshallah, you shall be fine. We shall have surgeries. You shall be fine. And get dressed and we will talk.
Right.
Wow.
And of course, that was her cue. And she did this. She said, please don't say anything. Please don't say anything. But go home. Don't have surgery here.
Right.
And nobody had said the word cancer yet, except she did, without in a sideways. Yeah. So my nose is running. All of a sudden the weather just changed. My nose is running. So I found that out the night before I went to Ghana. She saved my life. And so I searched for her. I couldn't find her. When I got back from Ghana, I had to decide, and the school year wasn't over. I had, I think, 2 more months, maybe 9 weeks before I could come home. But I was in so much pain and didn't have U.S. health insurance. So I had to wait for the rest of the summer before the U.S. health insurance kicked in.
Oh, my God.
So this tumor grew to the size of a watermelon.
Oh my God.
And thank God I was able to have it removed, and I did chemo, and I'm okay now. I'm well,
Wow.
you know.
Oh,
But
how
Yeah.
wonderful.
so out of I don't even, I can't, on Facebook, God bless Facebook. This woman, I kept searching for her. Her name is Love. Her
Oh,
name is Filipina. Her name is Love, and I found her and I thanked her. She saved my life.
oh
saved
my
your
So
life.
God.
thank you, God, for all the nurses in the universe, because those
Absolutely.
ladies, those females and males, all those people who are nurses, good God, we are so blessed. You know,
I mean,
So
what a
blessed.
traumatic
Right,
experience
Tim?
of physicality. My goodness.
yeah, I look back and I think, I'm glad I went to Ghana. I'm glad I didn't let it scare me to come home.
Right.
The experiences since then have been, when I came back to California, I started doing charity work because I had to recreate a community. So I found the people at Laguna Playhouse. There's one woman in particular named Leslie, who was she was the head of the development office, and she got me involved, and things have just blossomed from there. It's just,
Gosh.
when you have people in the community who give back and they
Right.
bring you into their tribe, like Wendy, like you, Tim. Here we are, all of us.
Yeah.
But it's also, Toni, you have those guardian angels with you all the time. That's why that nurse found that tumor.
He was there that day and knew
right.
what needed
And
to be done.
when we all say give it up to the universe, we actually all mean it, because for me, that's all that's ever worked. People's suggestions. So I love the doctor telling you they're going to give you basically a 2.5-foot scar. Don't worry, you'll be fine.
Oh my God.
And take my pancreas, because
Oh my God.
nothing was affecting my pancreas, but that's how they do it there, or did it at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, medicine,
right?
We're so blessed in the U.S.
Toni, we have so many comments. I'm like,
yeah, we do. I've got a couple good ones here. One is our good friend Jessie Luttrell says, does she know Claire Leibowitz? She did something similar, but I think he thought it was in Afghanistan.
Oh, wow. No, I don't.
I think what you did in Ghana, they did it. Claire
Beautiful.
Leibowitz.
Claire Leibowitz. That's great. Yes.
Yeah.
Peggy Nora, thanks, Toni, for the insight to Saudi. I love you, Toni, that you're sharing this with our audience. Sandy Jordana Sands, great to see you on here, Sandy. This is like really, really incredible stuff. My girlfriend Lynn Scannell, of course, wishing me, I love you, Lynn. Lynn actually modeled the same time we did.
Oh,
Lynn,
wow.
just wishing me a happy birthday. Toni.
Joe Preston says, Toni, you are so charming and your voice is so soothing.
Thank you.
It is. You've always had mine is like nails on a blackboard. Rollerina was here at the party and she kept telling me, can you lower your voice? I'm like, no, I'm in charge. Toni, your voice is like sweet, like honey.
It's like butter. Like
butter, baby. Thank you. That's a nice compliment.
Now, Hannah D Dance Company said, I did those underwear shows as well. Great money, though.
Oh, right? No kidding.
With love, kindred spirit.
If we were making that money now, I tell you, wow.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Wendy, you still do this, right? You still model.
I still do this. I'm not doing underwear anymore just because it's like, I don't like not having my pantyhose on. Tim, I even had pantyhose on at my party. I was surprised nobody said anything. Toni, no one wears pantyhose anymore. What is that?
I don't even own any. Do we own? I don't even own
I do. I wore them on Sunday night. It just makes me feel better.
There you go.
Hey, if it makes you feel good, do it.
Wear it. Exactly.
Victor Santiago said, hello, Wendy, my queen.
Oh, hello, Victor. Timothy Moreland. Sorry, I missed most of the show. Timothy, that's okay. It's archived on, you can watch it on Tim Moss Facebook Live, and it's archived on Wendy Stuart TV on YouTube. So you can catch Toni, Timothy. So that would be great.
Elizabeth Marcano says, when are the Glam Awards? Because we mentioned the Glam Awards earlier.
Yeah, when are they?
They're Monday. That Monday is the 30th or the 31st of January. What is that Monday, Tim?
I thought it was like the 29th or something.
Yeah, a Monday. I don't know why they're having them on the Monday.
Yeah.
Right. And Sue's Vel Generex. She's a wonderful designer. Toni, if you need costumes or anything, she designs, and she's fabulous, and she always tunes in with us. Yeah, she's really great, and she's out of Boston. We're here from all over.
I love it. It's the world, right? The world is now made possible.
Yes.
Yeah, really, the
Um,
world is 2 inches big.
Robert Owens says, hi, Wendy and Tim and Toni.
Ah,
Prince Fleet Easton from
We love Palm Springs.
Palm Springs. Oh, he was talking about the party. He goes, "Did you swing from the chandelier?" And he
Just
said,
about.
another birthday wish and blessing for
Thank you.
Aunt Lucy.
Yes.
He
Oh,
posted
the Aunt
Aunt
Lucy, what Toni doesn't know about. So this is a story that could have been Toni or any of us. Wendy signed her life away on a stock photo shoot in 2009. It was a 2-hour booking, $300, and I had a bill to pay. So I was just happy to have the money. And I didn't read the release, which I signed my visual away to have my image used for unlimited digital, unlimited commercial, unlimited everything. So Prince Fleet Easton, who's on here now, who's an entertainer, Prince gets in touch with me. He says, I'm liking your new commercial. What commercial? He's like, you're in a commercial for Shamrock Farms. No, I never did a commercial for Shamrock Farms. He screen shoots it. This is why we all got to stay together, you guys, right?
Yeah.
Screen shoots it for me. Sends it to me. Yes, indeed. That was me, not someone that looked like me. And then I spent the next 3 hours sleuthing, seeing who ran what. Finally found their ad agency. And then I get a curt email from Getty Images saying, we indeed have every right to use your image. You signed a release. And I wrote back and said, well, you are probably right, but can you send me a copy of the release? And they did. And there was my handwriting on that date in 2009. And what can I tell you? The rest of this great.
We've all done it. I mean, I think I did a weight loss commercial like years ago, and suddenly like I'm the before and after. And it's still every once in a while still pops up and people go, oh, wow, when did you do that? Gosh, in the 80s, I think. I don't know.
Up.
Yeah. And I'm not getting paid for that stuff. Although I did get recently residual check. I'm finally international. I did some TV series work in the 80s and 90s that is now playing in Germany. And, you get the Screen Actors Guild sent me a check for like $8.23 or something. But I'm just like, oh, yeah, I'm internationally famous. Yay.
You did that Baywatch, and that's great. Those shows are the gift that keep on giving.
Yeah. Yeah, I would, that's my goal again, is to be a series regular. Gosh, I would love to be a series regular.
Girl, I am. We are all
totally see that. Totally see that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'll go anywhere. I don't want to get naked, but I'll go anywhere and do pretty much anything else.
As long as you can wear pantyhose.
Exactly.
With the acting courses.
Yes.
Right. Do you like drama, comedy, musical? I mean, or just everything?
It's everything. I mean,
fabulous.
To be an actor is to be able to be in touch with all of yourself. So, some of the funniest stuff you'll ever see is when somebody is sobbing, right? I mean, because
Toni, what makes you such a great teacher, do you think? I mean, aren't your kids sometimes challenging for you?
Yeah. Oh, people are challenging always, right? So, but I think it's that if you put yourself in anybody else's shoes, I would say this, I am a dork. I've always been a dork. I think if you are in touch with that fact in yourself, if I had glasses and a retainer and acne, you can relate to that. If you can, you've had that. Right. Everybody has that stuff. So you see the beauty in that person and make them okay because you can relate, and they'll grow out of it or they won't. Some of the stuff, some of my dorkiness, thank you God, I haven't grown out of. So I use it and relate to people there, because we all have that fear of being dismissed or ignored or avoided or rejected. Right. So
for you, though, as a beautiful woman, there is that judgmental high standard, right? That the Victoria's Secret girl, she's flawless. Her life is perfect. She's not human. She's the it girl. She's all of those things. And you could see how somebody would look at you and think that. So God bless you that you have the dork factor.
Well, thanks. I mean, I think my mom said it years ago. She said, it's probably a good thing you got cancer, because otherwise you'd be a total fucking bitch. I was like,
Oh my
Well, you know,
Nobody's mom would
Yes.
say what she thought.
Yeah,
You're horrified, Tim, though, on that one.
That's one way of looking at it, I guess.
you know, but I do think it is. I have been rejected a lot. I've been.
Mhm.
People think, you know, and again, it goes back to that authenticity. You look a certain way, and until you give a person more than 3 seconds so that they can
Mhm.
reveal their integrity and their real self, how do you know? I mean, that's why again, I don't get the dating apps. I don't get the Zoom thing. Or the remember headshots when it was just a headshot
my
and they
God.
called you just by that black and white headshot. Reject, reject, reject. I mean, God, it's
Yeah.
years of rejection. So,
Right.
you know, yeah, you just have to speak from your heart and be who you are. And if not everybody likes me, I get it.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
they're
now-
wrong. But
Everyone's just like you.
So with the casting, like
Yeah.
a movie producer, someone's doing a movie and they would call you and say, oh yeah, like Vin Diesel is in this movie and we need 4 people to play these roles. Right.
right.
And then, so you have like a database of people, or
And you start calling everyone you know, going, okay, look,
The
who do you
mic
know?
at that
Who
part.
can? And I get calls from people, you know, my dear friend Kurt, Sam, who was my first love. We were each other's
Mhm.
first loves
Hi,
in
Kurt.
Wyoming. Hi, Kurt, if you're there. He's the artistic director for a theater in Saugatuck, Michigan, and I helped him for a while, and it was a blast. And every once in a while, he'll call me and say, "Hey, do you know this actor? Have you worked with this actor? Did you cast this? You know?" And
Uh-huh.
be careful who you talk to, people, and how you treat people, because
Right.
you know, you don't want to say anything negative about anyone you work with. You want to be so cautious about being respectful. And if you say you're a professional at something, you better have it on tape so we can see it.
Mhm.
Don't be an asshole, because
Right.
it gets around and then nobody wants to work with you.
Right. Because isn't it amazing how, like, 10, 15 years later, somebody can say, oh, do you remember this actor? It's not necessarily how they looked or what role they were playing or anything. It's how did they make you feel?
Exactly. And that's
Yeah.
why I say, you know, do you want to spend 12 hours a day with this person? Because when you're in a show or you're in rehearsal, you
That's what it
you
is.
better make sure that not only the director, but all of the cast, you can imagine this person fitting into that family.
Mhm.
Because
Right.
it's otherwise the work suffers. And if everybody around you hates you, it shows up on camera. It shows up on stage.
Yeah, exactly.
Your work suffers, the production suffers, everyone
Mhm.
around you wants to shoot you and shoot the casting people.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Yeah,
we all
because
hear
that reflects on
performance.
you. That reflects on the casting
Yeah.
director.
Yeah.
And
I certainly think, Toni, just because of your background, because there are people that are agents that started out being performers, and I would say more than a handful of them, they never got over the fact that they're adding agent into being performer. It didn't replace it, and there is that resentment somewhat, or they become almighty God. I have to say, you're a performer, you're a teacher, you're a casting person. Every bit of it is what Toni Redman is, and it's got an incredible balance, and that's what makes you so special.
and
And
that
you know what? Any actor that gets to come in front of you to audition should really consider themselves extremely lucky.
yeah.
Oh, I love you. Thank you for that.
Everything Wendy said, that is your authenticity.
Right.
That is who you
Yes.
authentically are.
You know, I feel I just, you know, as a kid, you want this. You just dream of it. You plan for it. You hope for it. You do study for it. You do all you can. You never know what's going to happen.
Right.
And so a lot of these students I'm working with now, I had a beautiful student at Laguna Playhouse who's now studying at a college and went for a theater major and discovered she doesn't want to be an actor. She doesn't want to give up acting, but she learned she has a tribe and she has other areas that give her joy. And she came and ate coffee over the holidays and she said, I hope you're not upset, but I want to tell you I'm not going to be an actor. And I said, oh my gosh, I hope you're not disappointed. And I said, I'm thrilled for you because you found who you are. And that's the great thing about going away to school. That's a great thing about going on with your life and learning. You don't have to give up acting, but you don't have to be in this profession. Go be who you are. I think that's what theater does for us. I think that's what the arts does for us. Helps us. I often say this, you know, we are the island of misfit toys.
Yes.
In so many ways. because when you don't fit anywhere and you finally get into a theater group or into a show in high school, or suddenly people who may be weirder than you are your dearest friends, because you start to accept them and they accept you, and it just blossoms. And I think that carries us forward through our lives, because we learn to be much more accepting of each other.
Absolutely.
The non-fit, it's funny you brought up the non-fitting thing, because all of us have created worlds now that we fit in beautifully, and we are there almost all the time. But when we have in my building like a board meeting, and I've been on the board in my building for 22 years because I don't trust, that anyone else is I want to be there for those decisions. When we have those board meetings, it's like, I call it the unicorn horn. And Toni, I've told you that. I feel like the unicorn horn comes out in the middle of my head, and it's like, fuck. They can see I'm definitely not one of them.
Yeah.
And when we have this, when we do it on Zoom and everyone will be talking like at the same time, I can't get the word in edgewise. And that is the only time, by the way, it happens to me. So, you know what? We never stop being those misfits, but we do find the island of misfit toys where there are hundreds and thousands of us.
Love us, just as your authentic being. And yeah, I always, when anybody says board meeting, immediately in my head, I go BORED. Yes.
Of course.
Yeah. It just happens. Yeah. But I love that you're on that BORED, because they need you. They need a unicorn.
Right. Right. Yep. Well, you're right. Yeah, they absolutely. Toni, what's coming up next for you that you want to share with us?
Super excited. I'm finishing this Sam Christensen method that I teach. It's a 4-week workshop, and Sunday is our final of this last one. It's extended a little bit because of the holidays, and we had a lot of school breaks and whatever. So we'll finish up on this Sunday, and then I'm creating another one. So if anybody's interested, we can do it via Zoom, or we can do it in person, which is great. Nice. Love it. It changed my life, changed so many people's lives, and I love sharing it with people. And then starting today, I'm thrilled to announce that I'm helping cast Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief for the Youth Theater at Laguna Playhouse. Tonight's the first night of auditions, and tomorrow I teach my class there. So I know my students are going to be thrilled to audition for it. And we're still looking for our Percy. So if anybody is interested out there, Percy Jackson. Yeah, looking for you.
Percy, oh my gosh.
And after that, I have been, co-producing. We're talking about it as a series now with a group in Nashville. So I'm hoping to go to Nashville in March to finish that process. Yeah, it's been 2 years in the making, and I wish I could share the details, but we've all worked in the service industry in some form, and it's the background of the service industry which hasn't been shared. So
there you go. Yeah. Well, Toni, you'll keep everybody in the loop. They can find you on social media at Toni Redman on Facebook. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Instagram is Redman Toni. Yes. I don't know why.
And also your website, which is Toni Redman 411
at gmail.com.
Or at gmail.com.
Yeah, I'm still working on the website. It's I said earlier, I haven't figured out how to put fuckability factor in my website without saying fuckability
you should open up with that in your cover letters and everything.
I love it. Oh my God, Toni, you've just made a new fan in me. I'm a fan.
Yeah, I knew the two of you would get along like a house on fire. Absolutely.
Next time you're out in New York, you've got to come out. I mean, we've all got to hang out. Definitely.
Definitely. We need to go dancing.
We'll dance.
We got to take you dancing with your purse.
In my
There you go.
It's large. It's.
You're right. She's hung like a purse.
Well, some people call it a bag, but I call it.
Really? Toni, thank you so much for being here today. Don't sign off at the end because Tim takes a group picture. Awesome. You are fabulous. Of course, I'm partial. Tim met you for the first time.
He thinks you're fabulous. You are absolutely beautiful.
thinks you're fabulous.
You're a beautiful soul and a beautiful person.
Beautiful soul.
Thank you. Well, I feel the same. It's really what a blessing.
Thank you for the energy that you bring to our world, Toni.
Yes.
I love you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody who tuned in today, and we will be back next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.